Unit 3 Movement Towards a New World Part 4 United Nations. After the First World War, the League of Nations was established to bring peace in the world, but it failed, and the Second World War started. During the Second World War, American President Roosevelt announced 4 freedoms: freedom of speech and thought, freedom of religion, economic freedom, and freedom from fear. The President Roosevelt and British Prime Minister Churchill prepared an 8-point agreement called the Atlantic Agreement. The agreement covered further topics like social and economic welfare and disarmament. The foreign ministers of England, America, Russia, and China met in Moscow to discuss about world peace, which came to be known as Moscow Declaration. In November 1943, the 3 superpowers held a conference in Tehran. Then the representatives of 50 nations met at Washington, USA, in September 1944 and made an agreement for the need for world peace. On 24 October 1945, a group of 51 member nations established the United Nations to work for world peace. At present, there are 193 member nations of the UN. Organs of the United Nations. General Assembly. It is the biggest organ of the United Nations. Each member nation can send 5 representatives to it but gets only 1 vote. It can discuss, advise, suggest, or recommend on all matters of international relations. It passes the budget presented by the Secretary General and allocates income to meet the expenses. It tries to find out solutions to economic problems of nations, human rights, disarmament, and other international matters. Important decisions are taken through 2/3 majority votes. Security Council. It is the most important organ of the United Nations. It has 5 permanent members: America, England, France, Russia, and China. There are 10 non-permanent members elected for a term of 2 years by the General Assembly. It maintains international peace and security. It solves problems and disputes of nations through negotiations and discussions. The 5 permanent members have the power of veto or negative voting. The right allows even 1 member to stop further action on all important international matters. Russia has used its veto power the most. Economic and Social Council. This council is also called ECOSOC, ECOSOC. It has 54 members. It appoints 2/3 of its retiring members for a period of 3 years. It aims at increasing the standard of living of all nations without any discrimination of religion, caste, or region. The following are the sub-councils of ECOSOC. WHO, World Health Organization. It works to improve the health of the people. IMF, International Monetary Fund. It works to bring financial stability. FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization. It helps to improve agriculture production, forestry, fishery, and the level of nutrition. ILO, International Labour Organization. It works to provide rights and justice for laborers. UNICEF, United Nations International Children's Fund. It undertakes activities to improve the health and welfare of the children of the world, providing nutritious food and education. UNESCO, United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. It improves cooperation among nations by removing illiteracy, raising the standard of living of the people through education, science, and cultural resources. Trusteeship Council. There are 5 permanent member nations in this council who are chosen by the General Assembly. It looks after nations which have not got independence or nations which were defeated in the Second World War. It looks after their social, economic, and political development. International Court of Justice. The International Court of Justice is an organ of the United Nations. Its headquarters is in Hague, the Netherlands. There are 15 judges in it who are appointed for 9 years. It solves disputes between nations, gives verdict on international disputes presented before it, and gives legal advice. Secretariat. The office of the Secretary General of the United Nations is called the Secretariat. The General Assembly appoints the Secretary General for 5 years. Secretaries, administrators, assistants, translators, and experts are also appointed to help the Secretary General. The Secretariat is situated in New York. The United Nations has constantly been making efforts to establish world peace, world unity, and to achieve the dream of universal brotherhood.